Welcome everybody to Freeway Path, and today we'll be continuing our Little Giant series, and today we'll be discussing a sinful woman whom Jesus encountered. What happened was Jesus was invited to a Pharisee's house, which that was like a religious group back then. He was invited to his house, and Jesus went. He's just hanging out, and he was reclining at the table, and here comes a woman whom the town people called a sinful woman. She just comes in. It didn't say she said anything to Jesus. She just came in. And when she came in, she just went to his feet. And then she was just crying tears. And her tears just wet Jesus' feet. And not only that, she just wiped the tears off his feet with her hair. And then on top of that, she took some nice perfume, which was in a nice alabaster jar, and she poured it on his feet. And I'm sure, it's probably an interesting scene to see. And of course, the Pharisee who invited him, he was speaking, doesn't Jesus know, who she is, who he's associating with? And Jesus, in his superior wisdom, once again wants to use this as another way to teach. So let me read and let you see the superior wisdom that Jesus is trying to convey to not only them at that time, but to us. So the story is found in Luke chapter 7, verse 36 through 50. And the verses I'll be reading of is starting at verse 40, when Jesus answered to Simon, "Simon, I have something to tell you." He said, "Tell me." Jesus said, "Two men owed money to a certain moneylender." He said, one owed him 500 denarii and the other 50. Neither of them had the money to pay him back, so he canceled the debts of both. Now, which one of them will love him more? So Simon replied, I suppose the one who had the bigger debt canceled. And Jesus said, "You have judged correctly." Then he turned toward the woman and said to Simon, he says, "Do you see this woman? I came into your house and you did not give me any water for my feet, but she wet my feet with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but this woman from the time I entered has not stopped kissing my feet. You did not put oil on my head, but she has poured perfume on my feet. Therefore I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven, for she loved," that's what he said, "for she loved much. But he who has been forgiven little loves little." And Jesus just says to her, "Your sins are forgiven." Then the other guests just began to say among themselves, "Who is this who even forgives sins?" And Jesus says to the woman, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." Now that, once again, was another beautiful opportunity for Jesus to show that many times during Jesus' teachings, he just wanted to constantly show that relationship is greater than religion. This woman who the town called sinful, she had just, like the Roman soldier we had discussed, she had just heard about Jesus, and through her faith and overwhelming faith and belief, she just started just to, be thankful in a way by crying her tears and wetting Jesus' feet. And not only that, using some perfume to anoint his feet. Now, did it take more than just being religious at that time? Yes, that's why Jesus has pointed it out. You ever notice how you just show much more love once you know that someone has loved you first? Jesus was showing her that, no matter how dark, or she was recognizing how dark her sins were, that she was steady forgiven. You ever notice when you worship, or when people loving Jesus, when they're worshiping, out of your love of your heart, you're just saying, "Lord, I love you and I thank you for what you've done for me. You shed your blood for me." And throughout my darkness. Other people have judged me and ridiculed me, and society has just treated me wrong. But you, on the other hand, you first loved me despite of myself. And when you had that revelation like she had about her sins, she was convicted of that. That love just overwhelmingly touched her heart, and all she could do was just, show her thanks in that form. She was just anointing his feet. That's why when Jesus said, he who has been forgiven little loves little, sometimes that you may been like we discussed, growing up with Christ and church and stuff all your life, and you might tend to forget how or take for granted the things that you've been blessed with. Don't ever take for granted your family. Don't take for granted your job you have or where you live, because you might be free to really just praise Jesus, but other parts of the world, people getting persecuted for loving Jesus and really going after him. So never take for granted, no matter if you've, say, grown up in church all your life, or just being involved, or a believer all your life, or you're just now coming to Christ for the first time. No matter what your darkness is, when you get that revelation how much he loved you first. That love overflowing with your heart, that point of where true worship is. That's what Jesus wants. Not just worshiping him out because you feel like that's what needs to be done. It's just that true love out of worship. It just comes out of your heart. You want to do it because he first loved you, and you're loving him in return. So Jesus took that example of her, no matter who you are, it says sinful woman, and flipped it once again to show the goodness of how good he is. So that was just, I said, another beautiful example of, I consider her a little giant, like we said, of love. She wasn't major religious, but she believed and she loved. So God bless you, and I just want you to take that example and let Jesus into your life, no matter what stage you're at, whether you've been believing for 50, 100 years, or you're just coming to him for the first time, because he loves you despite your faults. So God bless you, and continue to stay with us during our Little Giant series.